So we are here today with leader of the opposition party, Jarion Richardson, and Deputy Leader Ben Smith. Gentlemen, it's so great to have you here. Today we're going to talk about the implications of voting for independent candidates in this upcoming election.
Mhm.
Now, Mr. Richardson, I'll start with you. Of course, people have the right to vote however they feel, but is a vote for an independent really an effective vote at a time like this?
You see, that's the core problem, Carla, is that at this point in time, Bermuda's problems are so severe that a vote for an independent is basically an experiment. It's an experiment with an unknown set of consequences. That's a huge difference between us and the One Bermuda Alliance, who spent all of these past years developing a plan to fix Bermuda, working with the community this whole time, including community groups like Bermuda Taxi Owners Association and others, learning from them, learning from the farmers and the fishermen, so that we have candidates who are prepared to become members of parliament because they've done the work.
Some will say they've had independence in the past. I distinctly remember the late Stuart Haywood.
Mhm.
Can an independent candidate, why can't they have the impact that community perhaps desires?
I think it's because we have a Westminster Parliament, and in this Parliament, you need a certain number of votes to get legislation through, much like any other legislature. Well, an independent candidate basically is you don't know where they stand on any piece of legislation. I'm sorry, nor do we know which legislation they can prepare all by themselves. So we live through a system of government where we create laws. Laws are by their nature complex and difficult, and that therefore teams are required to put all of that together. I think with an independent, what you're going to get, like someone like Stuart Hayward, is yes, they can get in the House, but that's only the first step to fixing Bermuda's problems.
No, Mr. Smith, some people think that it's best that they're just assuming that the independents will automatically be with the current opposition. Does a vote for independent guarantee that it's going to be a vote in favor of the OBA?
Well, the truth is, independent in itself means that we don't know what their position is. We had to spend the time to put together a platform as the official opposition. So when the leader talks about the work that had to be done, we spent the time building a group of individuals that represent all of Bermuda. So we've done that work. But when I say the work, what that means is when we brought together all parts of Bermuda's community into our room, we then had the opportunity to sit with them so that they could discuss these major issues that we have in the country. So the point is, you're sitting at the table with labor. You're sitting at the table with business. You're sitting at the table with young people. You're sitting at the table with seniors. So we've gone through the conflicts that it takes for you to be able to make the kind of decisions that allow us, when we become the government, to get ready to work. See, the issue is, after the election, the independent candidate is saying, now we're going to look for the home. Well, so now you don't know what you voted for. What home is that? Who is it that they're going to be connecting to? Are they actually going to be implementing what you think and what you as a community would like to see? We've been asking the community by knocking on the doors and finding out what is important to them. When you look at what's happening with our school system, with our roads, with the crime that's happening, how do you know that that is the focus of an independent candidate? You don't. So what you're doing is rolling the dice at a time that Bermuda cannot afford it.
Now, there's no secret that for this upcoming election, there's an unprecedented number of independents who have been rolled out, and the majority at this point seem to be accompanied by Sir John Swan. And we saw in May that he did, we'll say, make his re-debut into the political scene, and then we've seen him accompany a number of independents. Do you feel that the independents that he accompanies are truly independent?
So this is one of the things when you don't commit to a party, then what is it that you're committing to? You have to commit to something. That's the nature of life. If you're gonna be successful in anything, you have to commit to it and work at it. So I'm not quite sure what they're committing to or working towards. And the same goes for Sir John. So he's clearly the linchpin and the hub of the entire affair. He shows up at the rollouts and things like that. So he's clearly in the middle. Well, the difference is with a party structure, such as the One Bermuda Alliance, you know how it's all connected, why it's all connected, and what outcomes it's working toward. With Sir John, basically sponsoring, I guess. I don't know his involvement or the extent of it, and no one ever will, but, because they're not a party, supposedly. So here's the catch, is even though it looks more transparent, it's actually less transparent. We actually don't know the extent to which Sir John is in control.
Mr. Smith, I'll ask you. I mean, some people have said they feel that it is a pseudo party, which is offering hope to the electorate. Do you feel that that perhaps the voting public are so seemingly desperate for change that they will prefer an illusion than a reality?
I think the issue that we have is that the country's frustrated. When you have 75% of the population thinking about leaving the country, that tells you the level of desperation. You have 6,000 people that have already opted out. They've moved out of the country for several different reasons. So with that, that frustration means people are looking for a place to go. They're looking for where they're going to get that support from. They're frustrated with the present government. So who is going to step in and help us? The problem that I have with Sir John's movement is potentially it creates chaos. Now, if you are somebody that has the amount of money to deal with the chaos, that's okay. But most of our population is not in that situation. So potentially they throw their vote away. And on the other side, in the 19th of February, they have to deal with the chaos that you're seeing in other countries where you're having to have several elections because you can't get anything done. Remember, if you have people that you don't know what they actually believe in, how do you know that they're going to be able to work with other people? Remember, the whole point of how our system works, it is going to take multiple people coming together and being able to do what's in the best interest of everybody in Bermuda. Well, if you don't actually know what these individuals are going to stand for, and they don't have to tell you. Right now, it's exciting. It's something new. But the exciting and new on the other side of this election could mean that you don't actually have the voice you're looking for. So the biggest problem that I have right now is it seems that they're looking just for the chaos factor. Well, most people in Bermuda need to understand something specific. We do not have any of our own natural resources. It means that presently, the international business, which we've heard, the CIT tax and all the different pieces that are involved in our economy, it's very fragile. Chaos is not something that we can afford. Internationally, people are trying to get our customers. So having government chaos leads to an opportunity for us to lose business. Why is that important? Because that's how people are going to be able to pay their bills. At the same time, as a government, you have to come in, and this has been our point from the beginning. Transparency, good governance, accountability, the things that we haven't seen from the present government. But how do you know you're getting that from an independent candidate? Now you're truly rolling the dice on your future. So as far as I'm concerned, we have to look at what does it mean if you're splitting the opposition vote to the government. It means 4 more years or 5 more years of burnt government.
So, Mr. Richardson, you've had a bit of criticism as opposition leader of the appearance that you are opposed to a combined opposition. The public has said that perhaps the OBA needs to combine with the FDM and some independents. And the narrative is that you are against that. Let's use this opportunity for you to be clear about how you feel about that and why.
First of all, it's very hard to be against the very concept of the One Bermuda Alliance. That is that there's a lot of different people coming together to make one outcome. So anyone can join the One Bermuda Alliance. It doesn't matter which community, which family. It all comes together. So members of the FDM can just as easily join the One Bermuda Alliance and have their voice still heard. So I did find it a bit rich when someone, I think it was the Rogues, that reported that I was against coalition, because I went, I don't know how you can be against the coalition but be in charge of the One Bermuda Alliance. It literally means coalition. Now, insofar as addressing other members, Ben and I are always in communication with both the FDM and Sir John Swan's group, because it's a small place. There's a lot of us who are family. There's a lot of us who are friends across political lines. So that conversation is always one that's bound to happen. And so that's why I always say, I push back when someone says you're against coalition. Like, no, that would be a very oversimplistic way of me saying what I have is a political party that is well-formed, well-founded, well-staffed, well-directed, who have a set of solutions for the problems we have in Bermuda today. That's where my commitment is. I cannot commit to parties that I don't know what they believe, or they don't have a platform, or they don't have a lot of candidates, if any. I can't subject the work of the One Bermuda Alliance. I can't make it secondary to an independent who I'm not sure what they believe or who they work with or anything. The fact is, I have a ton of clarity about what is the One Bermuda Alliance and what we're proposing to do, and I'm not going to replace that with something new and shiny.
So, Mr. Smith, often you hear it all the time, and especially now as you get closer to the election. Why would one vote for the One Bermuda Alliance?
The truth is that after 2020, we had to do a real internal look at who we were, what the perception was of our party, and what it meant to actually be part of the One Bermuda Alliance. The message that I'll say is that in that process, the first thing that we did was we opened our doors wide, because the only way for us to fix the problems of our country is that we have to represent the entire country. That meant that it doesn't matter whether you've been PLP your whole life, whether your family's PLP, whether you believe in the FDM and that movement, whether you believe that the independent concept makes sense to you, whether you are international business, whether you are labor. It does not matter what your background is. The only thing that we look for is that you believe in Bermuda and you believe in the future of Bermuda. So for that reason, we know that we've collected a team that has that belief. So many of our people had to leave the country. We have to find a way to stable where our country is and then build a country that everybody wants to be a part of. That way, our family members, our friends that have had to leave, they will see a place that they want to return to. And the only way we're going to do that, we have to do the things that the citizens expect us to. Take care of the basic parts of our country. You can't have roads that are not drivable. You can't have schools that are not taking care of our children. And we have to make sure that everyone feels safe and secure in their neighborhoods. Those are things that I believe that the entire community also believes in. The One Bermuda Alliance has built a team that will take care of those issues and make sure that we have a country that in the future will thrive for all of our citizens. That opportunity will be available, because if we can't build that, young people won't return. And without young people, there is no future for this country. That's why One Bermuda Alliance is the team to be the next government.
Now, Mr. Richardson, as leader, what do you want the legacy of the party to be? And how do you feel that you're at the helm of a time when you really can affect change that perhaps is more important than ever in this time in history?
I'd like the legacy of the party. Well, first of all, I always have to be careful because I am one member of the One Bermuda Alliance. And so although I'm the leader, I'm from the bottom up, so to speak. the One Bermuda Alliance has a certain mission, and that is just, well, in three parts: to strengthen communities, to enforce integrity in politics, and to improve fiscal discipline. Now, I need that not just to be the mission, I need it to be the memory. In other words, when the One Bermuda Alliance is no longer around, because nothing lasts forever, I would like the historians in 200, 300, 400 years to crack open the book and go, One Bermuda Alliance was elected, everything got better. That's what I want people 400 years from now to look back and go, well, what's the One Bermuda Alliance? And then learn about us by way of learning about how we rebuilt, how we realigned ourselves to certain principles, how we started listening, and how that whole thing came about. Because the transformation that we've done in the party, we know, that's why we know we can transform Bermuda back into a place, because we were in that dark place. So we can transform Bermuda and then leave that as a legacy to anyone and say, if you're going to fix a disaster, here's how you fix it. That would be the best legacy I can think of.